rejected by his mother, Urit Bioters. But a toy saved Punch, he was rejected by his own mother, bullied by the others. And in a world full of noise and rejection, only a silent stuffed toy became his shelter. But what he didn't know, someone was ready to become his real family. In a quiet zoo in Japan, a tiny monkey was born, smaller than the others, weaker than most, and seemingly last in line for strength. His name was Punch. While other mother monkeys held their newborns close, grooming them and keeping them warm, Punch's mother did something different. She turned away. No embrace, no warmth, no comfort. In the animal world, sometimes the weak are not chosen. Punch was so small, he could fit in the palm of a human hand. His fingers trembled. His legs were fragile. If the zookeepers hadn't noticed him in time, he might not have survived the night. And that was when someone stepped into his story. His name was Kenji. Kenji had worked at the zoo for years, quiet, patient, and naturally gentle. When he saw Punch lying alone and cold, he carefully lifted him as if holding the most fragile treasure in the world. "It's okay, you're safe," he whispered. Punch didn't understand the words, but he felt the warmth. Kenji bottle-fed him. Kenji stayed up at night to make sure he was breathing. Kenji became the first embraced Punch ever knew. But even with care, something was still missing. Whenever Punch heard other baby monkeys clinging to their mothers, he would stop and stare quietly. There are wounds the eyes cannot see. One day, a staff member brought a large stuffed orangutan, toy soft, brown, almost as big as Punch himself. They placed it near him. At first, Punch hesitated. He sniffed it, touched it gently, and then he hugged it, as if he had finally found the warmth he had been searching for since birth. From that day on, he never let it go. When he was scared, a hugged Italiano. When he was lonely, a hugged Italiano. When he was confused, a hugged Italiano. When he was hurt, a hugged Italiano. To everyone else, it was just a toy. To Punch, it was his mother. As he grew older, the staff slowly introduced him to other monkeys. It wasn't easy. There were moments he was pushed, moments he was mounted or picked on, moments he was ignored. Visitors sometimes watched these scenes with tears in their eyes. One time, after being bullied by two bigger monkeys, Punch didn't fight back. He crawled away and searched for his stuffed toy. He held it close, his small eyes filled with fear. Once, he had a small wound on his arm. Kenji gently cleaned it while whispering, "You're strong, Punch." And for the first time, Punch held onto Kenji's arm instead of the toy. Every morning when Kenji entered the enclosure, Punch was the first to approach. Not because of food, but because he recognized the footsteps, the scent, the presence. Sometimes after work, Kenji would sit outside the glass. Punch would sit on the other side, facing each other, quiet, as if having a conversation without words. One night, Punch became very sick. He had a fever and refused to eat. Kenji didn't go home. He stayed all night, gently stroking Punch's back while Punch clutched his stuffed toy. "I won't leave you," Kenji whispered. At dawn, Punch slowly lifted his head and wrapped his tiny fingers around Kenji's hand. For the first time, it felt like he chose the human over the toy. One visitor captured a video. Punch was sitting alone in a corner, holding his stuffed toy while the other monkeys played in the background. At one point, he was pushed aside and immediately ran back to hug the toy tightly. The videos spread across the internet. Thousands of people commented, "Why does this hurt so much? I'm crying. Even animals need love." Children sent drawings of Punch. Letters arrived from around the world. But despite the attention, the only thing that truly mattered to Punch was when Kenji arrived. One day, a new young monkey was introduced to the enclosure. Smaller, quieter. The little monkey approached Punch. He didn't push him. He didn't hurt him. He looked at Punch's toy, then gently leaned against Punch. Punch froze at first, afraid to be hurt again. But after a few seconds, it hid back a small moment. Little by little, Punch began to play. Not just alone, not just in the corner. Sometimes, only for a short while. As Punch grew stronger, Kenji noticed something different. One morning, he entered the enclosure and saw Punch playing with two other monkeys. The stuffed toy was resting on the ground, not clutched in his arms. Kenji smiled, a mix of pride and gentle sadness. After playing, Punch walked toward him. In front of the visitors, Punch wrapped his arms around Kenji's leg. Not Titoy. Asif Salin, thank you. Punch's story is not just about a monkey. It's about the rejected. Sometimes, the toy in our lives is a friend, a sibling, and sometimes, we are meant to be someone else's Kenji. You don't have to be perfect to save a heart. Now let me ask you, if there's someone you want to thank, write their name in the comments. And if you want more emotional, heart-touching stories that bring hope, subscribe. Pues, because like Punch, a heart that has been wounded can still learn to love again.